You know. All right, here we go. I'm gonna be serious this time.
Hello and welcome to Born in a Barn at Folio Weekly. I'm Rob Nicholson. My guest today is Stacy Bennett. Stacy, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Where we are actually is in the atrium of the Folio offices. And if you've never been to an art party, this is where we have them. It takes place out on the terrace and here in the atrium. And we do have artists come in. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I was actually going to see if I could stay here this weekend.
Stacy is she's formed, actually I'm just going to let you talk about it, Focus People. Explain to me how that works and really tell them how it works.
Sure. So about 10 years ago, this project started as a folk duo and put out an EP. At the time I was teaching, I was a history teacher, and so I was able to tour on summers and longer breaks. But as I got into my master's program and fell more into my adult life, the project sort of slipped away, but I revived it in 2016 and quit my job and just went full force, guitar in the car. I put out a record, and I've been going strong since then. So it's been about a decade I've had the project, but I'd say probably over the last 5 or 6 years I've really taken it and made it a business, essentially.
And done a good job with it. We were talking, Focus People can be configured of different musicians at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Right, so I've had half of Jacksonville playing with me at some point, but right now I have a very static lineup of people I've been with for several years, and I'm very happy with them, and we're pretty tight, and I just love them so much. So I hope they don't leave me. If you guys are listening, don't leave me.
Now, so what that means is you can see Focus People or Stacy as a solo artist or as a band, as a rock band, as a country band. You really kind of have a lot of breadth there. I mean, that you work in. How did you get so broad?
I am a lover of all types of music. When I was younger and I started playing music, I just would tape the radio, not to age myself, and then I would try to play what was playing on the radio, and at that time it was Smashing Pumpkins, Foo Fighters, basically anything 90s grunge. And so starting out, my bands were very hard rock, I would say. And when I went to college, I was alone in my dorm room with an acoustic guitar, and I started getting more into like storytelling through lyrics, and also playing more acoustic gigs. And then I just sort of fell into loving just the rawness of country music, old country music, bluegrass, Americana, folk singers from the 60s and 70s. And as I sort of got back into playing music with the band, I was picking up the banjo, I was picking up the mandolin, and come to find out, tracing back my ancestry, generations back from the Appalachian Mountains, they all played this type of music after they got out of the lumber mill. And so it's kind of in my blood, honestly. But I'm just also get bored very easily, and I think it's fun to give people, especially people in Jacksonville who have seen us play a lot, something different. So that's where it came from, just playing a wide array of music. We're actually going to start up. You guys can't see him, but Arvid's over here. We're thinking about starting a blues duo or making some blues videos, because that's what I do when I close the door to my guitar studio and nobody's watching. I just love the blues. So
it's so moving to listen to the blues. And you talked about videos, and you've made a few videos.
Right.
We would play them for you here, but YouTube will shut us down for doing that because even though you own it, they still tell you it's licensed material.
Right. They've shut me down for using it, and I don't. So if you're watching and you know about licensing, I went through a digital distribution person. And so they catch it if someone else is using too much of the content, and they'll shut it down. So that's one thing that's been on my list for probably like 5 years, is how to figure out how to use my own material.
We haven't figured it out either. So what we'll do is put the links on here so you can see the videos, because they're really quite great.
Right.
You did back in August, and it's gotten to be an annual event. It's a country music event. Talk about it, and you'll have to remind me of the actual name.
Sure. So this year in August was the second annual event. It's called the Queer Country Disco. It came from an idea of making a space for country music, also for people, all types of people, especially queer folks or BIPOC folks, to go and enjoy music in a safe setting that was also not just music from, I guess, I'm trying to say this, we're going to have to edit this because I'm trying to be very politically correct here.
You don't have to be politically correct.
Currently, mainstream country music, it's very masculine, it's very Caucasian. There's not a lot of diversity in it. But if you trace the root of where folk and country came from, it's a very culturally diverse genre. And we don't see a lot of that in the media and when we go to country music shows. And after touring all over for years, I would go, and I was the person people were coming to see. And I would think to myself, wow, I don't feel very represented in this space, and this is a show that I'm playing in. And so I wanted to create a space where artists and music lovers can connect. And you get a multitude of stories, not just what we hear on the radio. And I know the stereotypical joke of, tears in my beers, my truck broke down, my wife left me. But there's so many people out there making this type of music that aren't getting coverage. I think Brandi Carlile on the national level has started to really open the doors in Americana for queer people, for BIPOC folks, giving them exposure. And I wanted to do that on a smaller level here in Jacksonville. And so another aspect of the queer country disco is that I pick an LGBTQIA charity to donate to for the event. So last year, or well, not last year, a couple months ago, wow, that was just last month. What is time? We did T, which is the Transgender Empowerment Network. And so we were able to write them a pretty big check and also give them exposure as a new nonprofit that's on the scene. So it's really fun. Everybody dresses up. We have a costume contest, and it's just a place for LGBTQ folks and allies to come and just have a place to celebrate lots of joy and sing country music and just have fun.
I couldn't agree with you more, though. There isn't a lot of room for that in what if you tune into the radio, and I love country radio, don't get me wrong, but it is very narrow in what they seem to accept when it actually is a very diverse group of people. With that being said, this is Pride Month, and so any of Stacy's bookings that are going to be happening during the month, we'll definitely let you know about those. Where do you see it all going? Where do you hope it'll all go?
The music?
You and the music.
Oh, well, I would love to, I guess my main goal with all of this is to songwrite, have that published, tour, meet people, experience new places, connect to people, make an income from it. I think that's just always been the major goal. When I first got into it, playing music when I was 17, I wanted to be a rock star and I wanted the fame and the fortune, and now that I'm in my mid-30s, I don't want that at all. But I do. Because what is success? In a capitalistic society, success is having lots of money. But the way I live my life, I just need money to live and, possibly retire with. But success to me as an artist has changed. And I think right now, being able to tour, being able to put out records, being able to travel and just have fun doing this. And again, just sharing art with people and connecting through shared experiences, I would say would make me successful, and that's what I'm doing.
And you're doing a great job of it. During our getting to know each other over the last couple of months, we discovered, my name's Rob Nicholson, and you're a Nicholson.
Right, so my last name is Bennett, but I come from the Nicholsons. I have a connection to Old Rag Mountain. And so on my great-grandmother's side is the Dyers, and on my great-grandfather's side are the Nicholsons. And in the 40s, when the government was doing the park services, they kicked them off of their mountain. They had to leave. So this was Old Rag Mountain back in the 40s. And so with the war happening, my great-grandfather went and fought in the Pacific Theater, and my great-grandmother went, and her sisters worked in the munitions factories and ended up settling in Northern Virginia. So I have connection to Nicholson's, which is super cool, because the first thing I asked you years ago when you first emailed me for something, was like, where are you from?
Well, what we've both been able to figure out is that we both are descendant from the Isle of Skye in Scotland. So,
Right.
so we know we're connected there. Are we cousins? We haven't quite sure yet, but maybe we'll let you know the next time. Stacey, it's a pleasure to meet you and talk with you. I wish you all the luck of the world, and I will be at all your shows that I can get to. And it's just, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
So we're going to get back to a little bit of music here. In the meantime, I'm Rob Nicholson. This is Folio Weekly, and this has been Born in a Barn.
I was too proud to say I'm sorry. Packed my pillowcases full and flat. I walked for miles into the wild abyss. Sometimes I pray to die in the gutter like the poet of my, a pile of books to burn or to be read. buried our hope deep inside.